which if you've ever gone live, you know you got to do this. Hang on. Okay, post. Got it. Uh, it's just about 1 o'clock, and I want to say to everybody that's going to be jumping on, thanks so much. I know everybody's very busy. Appreciate it. And I've got my show notes here on the side, so if you see me looking down, you'll know why. And I just want to jump into this and a few things that I want to announce up here at the start is you'll see on the screen there the Giant TV URL. If you subscribe to that every week, and if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll probably see this, but every week I'm putting out a lot of content, sales, marketing, branding, building, uh, on topics that all of us can use and are actionable. So subscribe to that. I've also uh, want to know for those that are jumping on, where is everybody from? And so if you let me know where you're from, that would be great. And then if you ever have any questions about anything that I talk about in these presentations, you can always DM me afterwards. Sometimes it's hard as I to monitor comments here, uh, but feel free to follow up with me. And then what I'm doing today is uh, I'm talking about your foundation, your sales and marketing foundation, and why you need a sales and marketing foundation, what those components are. And then in future episodes, and I'm doing these live Giant TV episodes every Thursday, 1 o'clock California time, but I'm going to be drilling down on the components of the foundational pieces that I use. And why I'm doing Giant TV is because I love giving back to people, and I sort of have this mentality of give before you take. And so it's a lot of education, and selling and marketing is hard. It's hard for all of us, yet all of us have to do it at some level. Otherwise, we stagnate and fall apart. And so my whole goal is to deliver actionable tools, strategies that you can use to help grow your own practice or your business. And a little bit of my background is a married guy with 4 kids, and I have been selling, marketing my whole career, and I am running the growth and selling and branding for a very busy law firm in Southern California. So oversee development there. And Barth Calderon is the name of that firm. And we very busy, big footprint across the country, putting on about 40 workshops a year and doing a lot of stuff. So I'm like you, grinding every day. I'm in the trenches, building, growing, trying things, succeeding, failing, but have had some explosive growth uh, at the law firm over the last 8 years, and really built the platform there that I'm going to show you today. And I'm also the co-founder of Giant Jacks Media, which is a company that specifically helps other busy professionals within a budget to grow, stand out, sell, and market. And it's really taking what I'm doing in my role for the law firm and growing that firm, and bringing that over to others who are also trying to grow and stand out and build. And so as I get into the foundation here, um, the question comes up is what is a sales and marketing foundation? And the way I describe that is a big problem I see is for people who are trying to grow and stand out and get new clients, new members, they uh, a lot of times will put the cart before the horse, and they'll start trying to reach out, get new members, clients, but they don't have the foundational components in place to execute on a proper and successful sales and marketing process. And so what happens then is the reach out becomes choppy, it's disorganized, it falls apart, it's put together with bubble gum and toothpicks, and then people start they stop, they spend money on things they probably shouldn't spend money on, they give up because they don't have the foundation in place beforehand before they execute. And uh, so important to have the foundation and then the execution to follow that. So I'm going to share my screen now and walk through my foundation. And I want to say too that everyone has a different idea about a proper sales and marketing foundation. For me, I work in a professional environment at the law firm. I'm surrounded by, lawyers, CPAs, advanced planners, and we're reaching out to other professionals, CEOs, C-suite people. And so the foundation that I built and run for the firm is within the context of that environment. And I think that's important to note. And so what I've chosen to focus on really works in that environment and is transferable to to other coaches, business coaches, tax professionals, businesses who are trying to grow and reach out to other professionals. So let me share here. Okay. So what you see up here are the components of my foundation. Now this is where I tell people you got to have these pieces in place before you start executing. Now there's building blocks to this and pieces we add over time, but this is where it starts. And you probably recognize some of these components, maybe not others, but I want to talk about why you need these things. And I'm going to show you some examples as I get into it. And I'm going to start with the LinkedIn profile. And, obviously we all hear this, you need to elevate your profile, elevate your profile. And, for me, I ask, okay, what really does that mean? And how does it apply to people? And why is it important? So this is the why you need the profile. In my episodes going forward, I'm going to break down some of the components of each of these. But for now, it's why. And your profile on LinkedIn is massively important for a couple big reasons. Number one is people are checking you out today on the platform. These are your prospects, your clients. There's, I don't know, 700 million people on LinkedIn now, 5 million more sign up every single month. And I know at the law firm where I'm growing is the people we're reaching out to, by and large, most of them are on the platform and, they're there. And so before I get on a call, I'm always going to LinkedIn to glean important information about the person I'm talking to, if it's a prospect, for sure. And there's just some great information on there that people put on their profiles, things that they are passionate about, they care about. So I want to control my story. And this is where it gets into people looking at your profile. If you don't have a profile that's optimized, that tells your story, that makes you look like you have your A game on, then people are going to make value judgments about you that may be, off base. And so you've got to really make your site tell a story and control that story. And what is the message you want to portray to the people that are looking at it? And people will make decisions about even connecting with you or getting on a phone call or attending an event based on what they see there before they even take any action. So it's really important because people are looking at you. And I compare it to real life when you're walking into a networking event. I missed a lot of dinners with my family over the years, going to stuff after work and networking and trying to build my practice. And what I saw then is that I focused on how do I want to present myself? How do I want to show up? And what's the story I want to tell? Do I want to shake people's hand? How do I want to dress? What's my story? LinkedIn's the same way. Is what is your story when people come and see you there? You need to control that. Another really important reason that you want to optimize LinkedIn is that LinkedIn is looking at you and they're scoring you. They're giving you a score from 1 to 100. 1, you're horrible. 100, you're great. It's called your social selling index. Not a lot of people know that this even exists. And what they do is they look at what you're doing. They look at, is your profile optimized? Are you using the tools to stand out? Are you engaging with people on the platform? Are you connecting with the right people? And so I want to share something with you here. You can get a real sense of what this is all about if you haven't seen this. I'm going to show you what that social selling index looks like. Okay, so where you find this is on Sales Navigator. So you go to your Sales Navigator and you go to your photo in the top right corner and you hover over it. Drop down menu shows up and your social selling index is there. And you'll see is this, and you'll have a score. Mine's 85. I got some work to do there, but I am ranking in the top 1% of how they're scoring me. And there's 4 quadrants that LinkedIn is looking at to score you. And if you have a lousy score, the reason it matters is then LinkedIn the algorithm isn't showing you to people. They're making you irrelevant on the platform. Why even be on LinkedIn if you don't understand how this works and you're not being elevated by LinkedIn and the algorithm? So, LinkedIn went out and did a study with the top sales and marketing people to develop this social selling index. And go in there. If you have Sales Navigator, it's the only way you can see it. But then you'll see what your score is, and you can then really understand how they rank you and work on the activities. So the social selling index, very, very important. Okay, the next piece I want to show you is the well, let me show you that. Let me share this with you. I want to show you my profile to give you an example of where I focused my stuff on. So my profile, I wanted my banner to be clean and to have no mistake about what I do, and also wanted to highlight Giant TV, which is my brand I've created, and wanted people to take notice of that. So I structured my banner. I've got my headline here. There's science behind the headline. I have media up here, my featured section, and videos are huge. My family is important to me. So, I have that up there. And then, I've gone in and really have customized my about section where, I say it's you telling a story and providing solutions to the folks you're working with. But I'm going to get into this later in future episodes. What I want to show you now is get into the next component, is your landing site. And so a landing site is something that is different from a website. So a website is being among in the forest. People go to your website. It's great. They see everything about your firm, the people, whatever you have going on. But the landing site is different. It has a very strict, narrow call to action, and it's a splashy page with video on it and the right content. And as you're reaching out with your sales and marketing campaigns, you're integrating your landing page into the process where you're directing people to visit your landing page where they can book a call, learn a little bit more about you. It serves as a filter because as you're reaching out to people and you have a big campaign going on, you have activity coming in, then it's important to have filters of those people coming in, and your landing page serves as another filter because you're continuing to build rapport with them through your landing page and build credibility. And so I want to show you what a landing page looks like. Okay, so here's a landing page we built, and you can see these are simple video, short video on the background of you, and then an offer. And in this particular case, we're offering a free discovery call. And what this does is it just, you know, the video alone continues to build credibility as people, get to hear your voice, see you, see what you're wearing, how your hair is cut. All these things matter. And so the landing page is very, very important. I want to make sure I'm not missing a point of that. Yeah. And so along the way, you're including this landing page and directing people to it. Very, very important. And these landing pages are searchable also. If you set them up properly, they're searchable, Google searches and so forth. So they're just very dynamic. Okay, I want to go back over here. Okay, so we've got LinkedIn profile. We've got your offer site as one of the pieces. I want to talk about YouTube now. And obviously, we all know what YouTube is. This is your library of videos. And what I want to mention here is videos, is shooting video and using video to interact with your clients and prospects and to message is no longer a choice. It's mandatory because our clients and prospects are demanding video. They'd rather watch a video to learn about your service or learn about your product, or uh, you know to learn about your background through watching a video versus written content. All the stats bear it out, and using video leads to an increase in conversions and everything. People getting on a phone call with you, attending an event, uh, buying your product or service. And so video done the right way, short snack size videos, high value content, is just has to be part of the equation. And for instance, when I'm coaching and working with other folks, we're shooting videos on a regular basis, monthly, and repurposing. But it just helps get eyeballs on everything. And so YouTube is where you store those videos, obviously. And when you start doing that and you build up a library of videos, the doors that are opened for using those videos over and over and over in your process of building is just limitless. And can't tell you how many times I'll be on a phone call with a prospect talking about a concept, and they want to think about it and so forth. And I'll say, hey, listen, great. I shot a video, by the way, on this very concept. I'm going to send it to you. Great. You send the video. It continues to build rapport. Your video's packaged nicely, and it's fantastic. And so you use it that way, or use videos for virtual events. It's endless. And so video is key. The constant contact. So move on to this one. This is this constant contact deals with email. And so when I started building at the law firm, I had a lot of choices about what I was going to focus on. Do I build a massive YouTube channel, is Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, email? What was it? And I chose to build up a massive email list the right way. And it was one of the best things I ever did. We now have 120,000 subscribers to our email vlogs that go out, and a very interactive community of clients and prospects. And the reason email is so important and using constant contact is that you need to nurture your prospects and your community. What most of us know is that 90% plus of the people that come in to our funnel, when you're reaching out and people come in for the first time, 90% plus are going to end up being long-term leads. you're not going to convert them right away. And this is for the best salespeople on the planet. Those are the numbers. So you have to have a way to nurture your prospects and stay in front of them and provide value and continue to build rapport. And email is a fantastic way to do that. And so what you're doing is you're sending out consistent emails, and the way we set them up, they're vlogs, so it's a video in the email, and it's on valuable topics. Again, it's giving before you take. And so what this does, if you cultivate your group the right way and you have a process for collecting emails, which I go through later in these episodes, you collect them, you get them into your email nurture campaign and constant contact, you really start to develop and engage with your audience. And so what I want to do is I want to show you an example of an email here so you can get a sense of how it looks and what we're doing. Okay, so you can see here. So this is an example of an email, and in this case, the Heather Ann had a business discussion. She has a podcast, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, with another professional, and so it was sending out this email and providing value on an interesting discussion with somebody else, and offering complimentary strategy session, and also offering the opportunity to be a guest on her podcast show. So at least twice a month, you're sending out an email nurture campaign, and then as you build that up and you build your list up, what happens is your list gets bigger and bigger. You have a very active and engaged community. Other great things happen. If you are putting on a virtual event, a workshop, or whatever you have going on, you then can communicate in a proactive way through email with different things you're doing. So it's a tool that is excellent. And then part of it too is automation. So with email, you can automate the outreach, and so and create drip lists and so forth. So the automation that's involved with email is fantastic, and a lot of creative things you can do there. The other thing I want to talk about, the next piece, so go back here, is the calendar link. And people say, well, what's the big deal with a calendar link? It's just a calendar link, but it's not just a calendar link. And I'm always looking for ways to be efficient, to communicate, and just to stand out when I'm interacting with clients and prospects. And believe it or not, calendar links can be a very powerful tool for different things. So I love Calendly, and in that calendar link, for example, when people are booking calls with you, you can automate gathering the email from someone who books a call and putting it onto your nurture list. And so there's tools to do that, because as you're reaching out to people and you're providing your calendar link here, there, and everywhere, and people book with you, you don't have to ask for email. You can get the email automatically, and then get it into the right nurture system. So it's great for that. You can also redirect the confirmation. When somebody books a call with you, you can redirect it to a landing site where you motivate them to subscribe to your YouTube channel, or to your blog or something. So it diverts them. So they book a call, and then it diverts them to a really cool looking landing page, and you're furthering the interaction with that client that way. And make sure I don't miss anything on this one. Yeah, and so and you can set up different calendar links with different titles of the links. So for instance, you have a podcast show and you have a demo link, and all these different links for actions that you're going to have, you you can have separate links in Calendly, title them differently so that when they show up in your calendar, you know exactly what they're for, and you can make it mandatory when somebody books with you to collect their name, contact information, and LinkedIn URL. And so, for example, I got a lot of stuff going out, different links, probably have 10 different, calendar links for different things. And so podcasting, for example, when someone books a podcast, I have automated invites going out for podcasting. And when someone books, I have it titled properly. It redirects them to a landing page, which shows them what the podcast is about, reminders of how it all works. So it's efficiency. And so don't overlook your calendar links. The next thing I want to talk about is podcasting. And this is where Podbean and your podcast site come into play. And so, people have an idea about podcasting. When I started building, I said, okay, well, podcasting is great. It's exploding, but building a podcast site and building followers and all of that, I mean, it's an industry in and of itself. It takes time and effort. And so, I went down the email route and in other places like LinkedIn but podcasting, the way I incorporated it is that a couple ways. One is as we're shooting video. So, I built based on marketing centered around video, and when we are shooting video for hot topics that are going out, short, high value content videos that we're posting everywhere, I'm repurposing the audio from the video and it becomes content for my podcast. We have 3 podcast shows, and so we're populating the video audio into the podcast. So it's a great way to repurpose content from a video, and then also it's been a phenomenal tool for me to reach out to A-list prospects that I want to work with and invite them to be in my podcast show. It's a conversion tool and it's an engagement tool. And it's as you're reaching out, it's hard. It's hard to get people to agree to be on a phone call and so forth. But people love talking about their business and about them and how they got started and their challenges. And so you can reach out and invite people to apply to be on your podcast show, and people don't say no. They love doing it, and it's meaningful for everyone. And the whole purpose of execution of sales and marketing is to get conversation going, engage, build rapport, build a relationship, and reaching out to have somebody on your leadership podcast show or whatever you want to call it is a phenomenal tool. And some of the biggest A-list folks I wanted to get in front of, they were never going to take my phone call. They were never going to return a call. They were, weren't going to respond to email. But when I got to them with an invite to a podcast, they said yes, and I started engagement with them, and it became clients. And so it's a great tool. So one of the ways we work the podcast system is by automating invites to be on your podcast show. And if you're setting yours up, this is what you would do is, and let me show you what that looks like. It's another landing page that people go to apply to be on your show. And let me show you what that looks like. I think it's here. Yeah. Okay. So so this is it. So this is an example of a podcast invite landing page. So again, this goes into, reaching out, why you need this. It's another unique channel, get you engagement with A-list prospects. And this is what it looks like. And so we're integrating this landing page and reaching out. And we branded it here in this particular case. So you would come up with your brand if you're doing this. And this is why these landing pages are so great. Why the podcast? what you get, and you know, in future episodes, I'm going to dive into this and how this works. But this is what the podcast site looks like, and it's just a great tool. Um, Zoom. So let me go back to that slide. Go here. Okay, so we've got calendar link, podcast site. Podbean is where you host your podcast episodes. So just like a website, you need a hosting site for a website. So you need it for a podcast too. And Podbean integrates with iTunes and Spotify and others. And so that's where you house your content. Uh, Zoom. Okay, so everyone knows Zoom. We know Zoom, but what I just want to say about Zoom is the reason to have it and to use it, the why, is whenever you have a first interaction with a prospect, you always want to make it, if you can, one-on-one in person. If you can't, the next best thing is video as opposed to a phone call. So as you're reaching out, messaging people, and your call to action is a call, you want to make it a Zoom video every time. It's just a better interaction than a phone call. And again, I think we all know that people can see you and get a sense of who you are, the way you dress, and it just personalizes it more. So always make the first interaction a video Zoom if you can. The other thing about Zoom, uh, that you need it for is it's for your podcast show. So when you're podcasting, you're zooming it with somebody else, so you're not traveling all over the place for your podcast. It's on a Zoom, and it's a great platform for that. And then as you get more sophisticated with different things, you can stream out to other platforms using Zoom. So you could have a Zoom event, webinars, and so forth, and you can stream it out to Facebook and Periscope and YouTube, multiple platforms going on. So Zoom integrates great with apps like Restream, for example. Okay, automation. Yeah, automation. You know, Sometimes automation gets a bad rap. People don't freak out about automating because they think robots and it's not personal and so forth. But it's not what I'm talking about. So automation, you know, there's a lot of tasks that we all perform during the day and weeks that can be automated. You know, gathering emails or moving lists around internally, and there are just ways to automate that. So I'm huge on automation, and I think everybody needs to take advantage of automation where they can. And I'm not talking about these expensive AI type of things. It's cost effective ways to automate. Email automation is one example. A lot of the services, Mailchimp, Constant Contact, and they have automation capabilities built into them. Got to use it. Got to use them. They're great. Or maybe your CRM has automation. We're big on Trello, and Trello's got some enhanced automation features internally that allow our team to manage things and move things around and save on tasks. So um, the automation is key, and lead generation. There's some great automation when it comes to reaching out to people. I mean, it's laborious to reach out to large numbers of people when you're selling and marketing, and there's just really, really dynamic ways to automate and scale the reach out. So don't neglect automation. Then I want to show you the tracking board. So when it comes to your foundation, you know, one of the things I see people do is they start selling and marketing, but it's not organized. And and it needs to be organized. You got to track it. You got to have an efficient way to respond. and to measure, how are you measuring your lead generation campaigns? You know, what are the metrics there? And uh, so I want to show you this because just as an example of how we track. Give me a second here. Okay. There it is. Okay. Okay. So what you have up here is tracking system. So however you're going to do it, you've got to track. And the way we track it and the why you do this is because you can see where it's working, see where it's not working, and tweak as necessary. And so the way we're tracking is on the dashboard here, we're seeing, the amount of invites being sent, and we're seeing, the replies, positives, negatives, all that stuff. And we're able to see connection rates. This is on LinkedIn, connection rates, response rate, interested rate, and and then we're also bringing, for us in the way we track, we're bringing all activity into our tracking system. So, responding here on the tracking system, and to these are, people responding. These are, positives, not interested, maybes, and the way we organize it. So when you organize it and you track this way, it is incredibly useful to making sure that your campaigns are successful, because sales and marketing campaigns, once you start reaching out, they're living, breathing things. They need to be tweaked. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Got to analyze them. And, the environment can change. I mean, COVID showed us, how a big change that led to many people, tweaking the way they message, and different focus points. So the tracking, really, really important uh, when you start reaching out. Now, I'm going back here, and this is a huge one, is Sales Navigator. And let me just go back to the presentation board. Um, so Sales Navigator is huge. Why you want to have it is, as you know, it's a different interface from LinkedIn. And you toggle back and forth, but Sales Navigator allows you to engage efficiently with your clients and prospects. And it just makes it easy. Download the app on your phone, have it on your desktop, and things like, saving prospects into a lead list. And when you do that, then Sales Navigator starts to feed you information and content from your leads. And so, um, and then you can engage with them, and they're updating that interface all the time. As a matter of fact, they just had some updates where it makes it very easy to engage. Where you go into your feed there, and you can see what your prospects are posting. These are things they care about, and maybe something to do with their company, or something they're passionate about, or content they're sharing. You can see that easily in Sales Navigator, and what you have to do is engage with that content, and that's why you need Sales Navigator. And it's one of the ways that LinkedIn is measuring you is by your engagement. And I just can't believe when people have it and they don't use it, because it's phenomenal. I mean, imagine having a list of your prospects saved in Sales Navigator, and now, like any prospect list, I mean, how would you reach out to prospects without Sales Navigator? Well, it'd be email, cold calling, trying to find other ways to interact with them. Sales Navigator makes it very dynamic, puts them right in front of you, and shows you, hey, these people are doing stuff. They're changing jobs, they're posting content, they're having, a birthday. I mean, whatever's going on, and you can start developing a relationship. And so Sales Navigator is the why of it is got to engage. and you should want to engage, and blocking out time every day to interact with your community on Sales Navigator. You just would be shocked at the results that come from consistent, proactive, meaningful engagement by you on Sales Navigator. And I will dive into some of the best practices there later. And then social channels. Um, so for sure, LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, YouTube for your videos, and podcasting. Those are some of the channels that kind of we grow. And then if you have Instagram, you know, nice piece to add to everything. And then the others, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, those can be incorporated. The main focus for us and the way we built has been LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, YouTube with the videos, and having the other channels, and then email, building those out, and now we're building blocks. Uh, so what I want to say in wrapping up here is that, and again, thanks everybody for jumping on, for those that could make it. And I want to say that 3 things important. One is, number one, make sure you have the foundational components that are right for you in place. Number 2, once you have the foundational components, what do you do now? This gets into the execution of your sales and marketing campaign. And so that's number 2. Number 3 then is ongoing measuring, looking at the metrics, tweaking. And so those are the 3 main categories. And I think I've got everything in there. So yeah, every Thursday, 1 p.m. I'm doing this. I just want to keep giving people value, hoping that it helps you in some way. Subscribe to the Giant TV link there. You'll get videos that I put together. These are thoughtful videos on tools, strategies, tips that I'm looking at all the time. DM me if you have any questions. Go to my site. Any questions that pop up about your own scenario, happy to provide input. And thank you so much. Glad we're connected.